10 awesome free-to-play multiplayer horror games on Steam. If you're looking for some games where you can stand side by side with your friend and shoot hordes of zombies, or perhaps challenge someone to a 1v1 scarefest, then you're in the right place. Every single one of these games is free. I'll be giving a little bit of information about the game itself, as well as how the multiplayer functions. I'll put links in the video description that will link you to each of these games. If you want to be an absolute legend and support the channel, then make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. Yet another zombie defense. Build your base by day, defend it by night, and stay alive for as long as you can. This game goes up to 4 players online co-op, and it also has 2 players local co-op. This game is loads of fun. You've got a massive amount of weapons that you can choose from, such as shotguns, assault rifles, rocket launchers, and flamethrowers. Build barricades, put down auto turrets. You can equip the auto turrets with different guns. Make sure to stock up on ammo, place down mines, throw grenades, pick up cash and power-ups. Do anything you can to survive. Hordes of undead will attack you every night, and as the nights progress, the difficulty increases. How long can you survive? Zombie Panic Source is a cooperative survival horror first-person shooter. As the round starts, you choose to play as a human or a zombie. You've also got survival mode or objective mode. Survival mode is kind of like a PvP deathmatch. Survivors have to survive as long as they can do, and zombies have to break down barricades and kill the humans. Survivors can use ranged or melee weapons, so if you're playing as a zombie, ideally you don't want to be out in an open space where you can be shot easily. Survivors will barricade themselves in houses or buildings, and zombies will smash through the windows and doors to kill all the survivors. This game goes up to 24 players per server. In terms of the servers for this game, all servers are player-made and player-hosted. Usually most players will congregate into the server with the highest amount of players. At the top of the list is usually a game with like 20-24 players in it. You can also find some servers with 0 players. So if you and your group want to jump into a server with 0 players, the option is there for you. Just keep in mind there'll be someone that is an admin of that server, and the admin of a server will always have full control. Technically you can set up your own server, so if you or someone that you know is quite computer or tech savvy, there are guides online that talk you through setting up your own server, so feel free to take a look through those if that's something that you want to do. When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. No More Room in Hell is a first-person zombie shooter that goes up to 8 players cooperative. Shoot and smash your way through hordes of zombies, whilst trying to complete objectives like start generators, or find keys to unlock doors, or find a fire extinguisher to put out fires. The combat in this game is a little bit more slow-paced in comparison to other zombie shooters. It's got a little bit more of a realistic /survival horror kind of vibe about it. It gives the feeling of the old school Resident Evil and the old school Silent Hill type combat. It's actually a modification of Half-Life 2, so in terms of controlling the game, it feels a little bit like Half-Life. It's got a large variety of weapons, such as pistols, shotguns, baseball bats, and chainsaws. There's also a mechanic in this game where if you get hit by a zombie, there's a chance that you can become infected, and then over time, you will turn into a zombie as well and die. When you get infected, you have the choice to tell your group that you are infected, at which point they could turn on you and kill you, or you could choose not to tell them and hope that you find a vaccine along the way. Think of this game as kind of like a classic survival horror, a bit like Resident Evil Outbreak, but in first-person mode. Also, this game doesn't have any official servers. All the servers listed are player-made servers, so you can join any of the non-password protected player-made servers, or you can choose to create your own server. When you click create your own server, a window will pop up offering to show you a guide on how to set up your own server. You do have the option to invite your friends into another player's created server, so you could join an already created server and then invite your friends to that player's server. Every time I've checked the player servers, there's always players online. Object N is a first-person zombie shooter which takes place in an underground science lab. It's got a co-op campaign mode or a deathmatch mode. This game kind of feels like playing a mix of Counter-Strike, Left 4 Dead, and Vermintide. There's a bunch of different weapons you can find and use, and there's also various secrets that you can find on each stage. I believe the maximum players on Object N is 8. I've seen some deathmatches with 8 players, and I've tried co-op campaign with 4 players, but I can't 100% confirm what the maximum players is for the co-op campaign. It doesn't say anywhere on the Steam page or anywhere online what the max players actually is. If you do find out, feel free to let me know in the comments. You You have the option to join a server or create your own. You usually won't find any co-op servers in session, so you will have to bring along a group of people to go through the co-op campaign. Alternatively, you can go through the campaign solo if you want to. You usually will find players online doing the deathmatch mode, so you can jump in and play deathmatch mode if that's your thing. You could technically start a co-op server and set the server to public, and you may find that people do join. The way that I tested this was to create my own server, which was a co-op campaign server, and then invited 3 of my other Steam friends to join the match. Put your instincts to the test in a game of trust and deception with Deceit. In Deceit, when the round starts, you'll randomly be chosen to play as a human player or an infected player. A third of the group will be playing as infected. If you're playing as a human, your objective is to make it all the way out and escape. If you're playing as an infected, your objective is to kill all of the human players. However, everyone looks like a human, so you won't be able to tell who the infected players are. You'll have to pay attention to the players' actions and words to try and figure out who is infected. It goes up to 6 players maximum. You have a phase where the lights are on and a phase where the lights are off. While the lights are on, the human's objective is to gear up, get some weapons and armor, and prepare for when the lights go out. The infected players will try and gather blood bags so that they can use their power up when the lights go out. When the lights do go out, the humans will have to get the power back on to progress. And in this phase, the infected can transform into their terror form. Whilst they're in their terror form, if they've consumed enough blood bags, they can perform an instant kill. You can use in-game voice chat to try and convince people that you're innocent, or try and convince people that someone is an infected player. With Deceit's recent updates, it's kind of taken a few things from Dead by Daylight and Among Us. In the lights out phase, human players now have to reactivate generators to get their power back on. There's also challenges that reward the player with in-game currency, such as play on a certain map or play as a certain player. And it's also taken inspiration from Among Us, where you can now call an emergency meeting and vote players out that you think are infected. It's also got a skill tree that you can go through to upgrade your character. You can unlock things such as regenerate your health over time, or spawn into the game equipped with armor. This game is a very social game, all about trust, lies, and deception. SAS Zombie Assault 4 is an action-packed zombie shooter with RPG elements. You'll be able to upgrade guns and armor, and you can choose different classes that have unique abilities. This game goes up to 4 players online co-op, and it sometimes has PvP events like Last Man Standing. By completing stages, you'll earn in-game currency, and you can use that currency to upgrade your characters or buy extra ammo or grenades. There's sometimes boss fights at the end of the stage, and you'll need to give it everything you've got to survive. The 3 classes are Medic, Assault, and Heavy. The Medic can throw down medic packs to heal your allies. The Assault class is usually the first guy into the action that leads the team forward. You've also got the Heavy class, which deals overwhelming damage to the enemy. You also get rewarded with some loot crates every time you complete a stage, and you can pick up some pretty cool weapons and armor in these. You can gain skill points and upgrade your character. You can upgrade things like their health or cash gained when you complete a stage, or even the blast radius of a grenade. It's pretty cool how much you can customize in this game. Scare the living daylights out of your opponent in Hide and Shriek. This game is a 1 versus 1 scare fest, where your objective is to scare the living hell out of your opponent. Each game is 10 minutes long, both players are invisible, and the player with the most points at the end of the round wins. You can score points by scaring your opponent, luring them into traps, or performing ancient rituals. You'll have to look around the arena to find magical orbs, and then bring those orbs back to a pedestal to get bonus points. The catch is, whilst you're carrying this orb, you potentially can be jump scared, and if you jump scared, you'll drop the orb and lose it. You'll need to cast spells and lay traps to try and reveal where your opponent is. If you think you know where they are, you can cast your special ability, which is a massive jump scare, and if this connects and hits the player, you'll gain bonus points. I believe this game is intended as a Halloween game. Every time that I have queued for a match on Hide and Shriek, the matchmaking system has always found me a player to actually play with, but I'm not sure if that's because they've got a really active player base, or I've just been really lucky with my matchmaking. So I'd recommend inviting a friend to this horror scarefest. Dead Frontier 2 is a massively multiplayer online survival horror game. Scavenge for supplies, improve your skills, and trade with other players. Make sure to stock up on weapons and supplies because you could run into the infected at any time. This game kinda has the vibe of the old school Resident Evil and Silent Hill. It's even got the Resident Evil typewriter sounds when you change area. When you open and look at the map, it looks exactly like old school Resident Evil. Essentially with this game you talk to the NPCs at the central hub, they'll give you quests to complete, then you head out into the city and complete those quests. You'll be fighting the infected and looting stuff along the way, bring that stuff back to the central hub and hand in the quest to get your reward. You can level up the character and give them different perks, such as improved melee attacks or improved sprinting. If you're a fan of classic survival horror games, then I think you'll enjoy this game. Dead Frontier 2 also requires you to sign up with a third-party account. You'll find it on the main menu as you boot up the game. It's also got these really cool timed events where loads of the infected will attack the safe house and loads of players will have to work together to fend off hordes of the infected. This is a lot of fun because there's so many things happening all at the same time. Codename CURE is a first-person cooperative zombie game that goes up to 5 players. Play as a team of special military operatives tasked with curing the infected areas. You can pick your class from pointman, support, assault, technician and sniper, each one with a unique playstyle and equipment to support your team. You have to plant the bomb and then run out of there before the place explodes, which is loads of fun. It's also got a survival mode where you can fight waves and waves of zombies. This game only has player-made servers. Some of these player-made servers will have people in them and some of them will have nobody in them. Technically you can join an empty server and you can invite your friends into that empty server. You do have the option of creating your own server, but you'd have to take a look online on how to set that up. There's plenty of guides online that you can follow to set up your own server. I have tried and tested inviting my own friends into somebody else's server and I can confirm that it does work. Just keep in mind that if you join somebody else's created server, that person will always have full control and full admin rights of that server. A fast-paced co-op campaign zombie shooter, kinda like Left 4 Dead. SCP Secret Laboratory is set during a containment breach where many anomalies have escaped from their security chambers. There's various roles that all play different parts in this game. They can be broken down into 3 main teams, which are D-Class, Mobile Task Force, and the SCPs, which are essentially the monsters. This lab is set underground. I won't go into a massive amount of detail of how all these various different roles and things work. You can find other videos that go into massive detail on this. I'm just going to give a quick breakdown in this video. If you're playing as a prisoner, your objective is to make your way out of the lab to the surface and escape. If you're playing as an SCP or a monster, your objective is to kill everybody. If you're playing as a scientist, your objective is to make your way to the surface and escape. If you're playing as the Mobile Task Force, your objective is to get in, kill all of the monsters, rescue a scientist, and get that scientist to escape. If you're playing as the Chaos Insurgent, your objective is to get inside, rescue a prisoner, and get them out. There's various types of monsters that all have unique abilities and specials. Every time I've checked this, there's always been a decent amount of players online. There's quite a lot of different servers, and generally the servers will be somewhere around 20 to 35 players. There's quite a lot to this game and it can get quite complex, but essentially it's a secret lab where there's monsters breaking out, prisoners trying to escape, scientists trying to escape, and armed soldiers running around everywhere shooting stuff. I do have a whole series on 10 awesome games, each video with its own unique topic or theme. For example, 10 games where you can pet the dogs, or 10 awesome single player horror games. So if you're looking to discover some new games, then feel free to check those videos out.